Hello Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, what happened to the real estate market this past week? Tonight's video, we're going to cover all that. That's right. I take you into the back end of my MLS account here where we look at all this. We're going to look and see what the active inventory is, okay? All that active listings is your current inventory. We're going to see how many went under contract. And since this is a weekly show, we're going to look and see what went pending in the last 7 days, how many sold in the last 7 days, take a look at that new home data, and actually look at the active listings that are in the foreclosure status, and a whole lot more. Hey, you know what? I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate agent up here in North Florida, and that's why I can take you into the back end of my MLS account every week for this show. But I've also got a warning for buyers, and it has nothing to do with those interest rates or those prices of homes right now. No, it has everything to do about that buyer's agreement that you must sign before looking at homes, okay? I'm going to cover a little bit about something that you need to be careful of when you're looking at a home and you sign one of those agreements, okay? I mean, I have to have my customers sign them when we show homes, and all the realtors need to do that now. So we're going to cover all that. Something else I'm going to add tonight. I got something special. If you're a weekly already watch this show every week, I've got something special I'm going to be adding when I do my sheets and show you all the data. That's right, I put all this stuff into Excel spreadsheets. First, when I take all that information from the MLS, it looks like this. It exported in these Excel spreadsheets, but then I convert it into my own Excel spreadsheets to look like this, where it makes it easier to track weekly, and also we can track from the last couple of years from my Excel spreadsheet. So I'm putting all that together right now. So while all those numbers are computing and we're getting to those Excel sheets, let's take a look and see what those rates did this last week. All right, here we are into the rates. We're first looking at the 30-year conventional fixed rates, and we start all the charts here at the bottom, right down in this area. And here we can see where last week we were at 6.87. Here in this column is where we see if the rates went up or down during the week. The dates are over here on the left. And at the top here is what we ended up with. And as you can see, we were at 6.87. Now we're at 7.14. Holy crap. I mean, that's a jump. That's a jump, a hard jump there. You know, that second arrow up. I expected them to touch 7, but I didn't expect them to plow through it like this. All right. FHA is generally a little bit less. As we can see here last week, we were at 6.25. We ended up at 6.5. And when we look at the VA, they're pretty close to FHA's. Last week, 6.26, and we ended up at 6.52, okay? At least they are a ways from the 7 yet, right now. Well, you know, all the news shows Fed's cutting rates, Fed's cutting rates, Fed's cutting rates, but that doesn't always mean that home mortgages are going to go down, okay? And then look what happened here. We actually touched 7%. Holy cow, all right? Well, now let's take a look at those Excel sheets and see what we got. And I'm going to be covering everything in those sheets of all the housing. And then I'm also going to break the condos out of that separately, because we definitely have a condo crisis brewing here in Florida. So let's look at those Excel sheets right now. All right, here we are into my Excel spreadsheets, and I'm just going to briefly explain how it works here for those that are new to the show. This column here, this is the current week we're working in, season 3, week 32. You see it's in the yellow column here. And then these previous yellow columns are the previous weeks, okay? Now to the right here in the white column, that is last year at this time. So see how easy it is to compare last year at this week, okay? Was week 32 last year. Why is the year-over-year difference between those two. In the blue column, SFH is single family homes. That's where I pull just the single family home data out by itself, since that's the most popular sales. And over here in this row, you see, in this column, you see the different rows, what they are, active listings, that's your inventory sold in the last week, active under contract, and so forth, with those numbers. So let's get started right now. We're in season 3, week 32, and we've got our active listings for this week is 9,406, and we can see that has been dropping over the last couple weeks. Okay, so the inventory has been going down. All right, solds 478. That number is climbing. Okay, so we saw the disaster of 242 a couple weeks ago. rebounded to 414, now 478. So it looks like we are in a crash situation, right? Yeah. Active under contract 971, okay. Pending 285 for a total of 1256. Okay, that number is down from last week and also from the week before. Withdrawals were 80. Now withdrawals are homes that are active listings, they just can't be shown. And a lot of times it's because maybe there's somebody sick in the family, they don't want people coming through. You could see more of it at this time, you know, because of the holidays. People don't want people coming through the house, so that could increase, and we have seen that did increase. It could also be for repairs. Expireds. Now these are different from withdrawals in that these did not sell and they are off market. So we see the expireds is 196. New homes sold 175. What a jump. Okay, more than double last week, and look at that, and like 3 times from what 2 weeks ago. New homes sold, people wanting to get in those new homes before the end of the year. All right, new homes active 2,250, that's their inventory, so just down slightly. Now this orange here, that represents the percentage of homes sold that are new. So in this last week, 36% of all homes sold were new construction. That's incredible, it really is. And this spreadsheet, I go all the way back. As you can see, all these numbers and all this data that I've done from every week that I've done this show goes all the way back when I started the show way back in May of 2022, okay? And this spreadsheet is available for download when you subscribe to my newsletter, and I'll explain a little later how to do that. All right, how do people pay for these listings? How did people pay for these homes? All right, here we look at cash, okay, just over 23%, conventional almost 43%. All right, so that, you know, that's pretty strong there for the conventional. They came in pretty strong. FHA, you know, over 15.5. VA, getting closer to 15%, and other jumped 3.14. As these interest rates start climbing up again, okay, we start seeing the alternative financing. All right, and here below is these numbers. Those are the actual units sold that added up to those different categories of cash, conventional, FHA. As you can see, 112 homes sold for cash. Now we look at the foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and short sales, and these are the ones that are in active listings, okay? They're not the total for the whole of North Florida. They are the ones that are actually listed for sale in the MLS under, you know, and have this category of foreclosure. So we see the number total did increase by a couple, okay? So foreclosures were actually down, the pre-foreclosures up 1, and short sales up slightly 2. Now we take a look at the percentage of homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. Okay, this week the percentage of homes that sold under list dropped to 72.8. Homes that sold at list stayed pretty stable there from last week's 15.27. But when you look over the last couple of weeks, it is an increase. And homes that sold above list, now this kind of surprised me a little bit, 11.92%. But and also the numbers below are the actual units. But this homes that sold above list, and I got to mention this every week because not everyone catches every show, is that when I'm going to show you the data showing how much above list they were actually sold for, and some of them are actually pretty small, and a lot of that is going to be with concessions, where to get concessions, sometimes people are putting above the list price. So if the list price was, say, $300,000 and they needed like $3,000 in concessions to help with closing costs, then they would offer $303,000 and it would show up as an above list. So that could be a factor in what's bringing up some of this, okay? Not all of it, but some of it. Okay, next we look at the price categories in the 500s, 400s, 300s, 200s, and below 200. Well, actually, it's not the 500s, 500 and above. So we see here that this last week that 27.62% sold above 500,000, so over 1/4, okay? In the 400 range, just over 16%. Almost a quarter of them sold in the 300, so that seems to be our sweet spot there, that and the homes that sold above 500. Homes that sold in the 200s did jump there to 23%. Homes that sold below 200 dropped 8.79. And again, below, these are the actual units sold for those price categories. Well, we saw that the new homes sold, you know, the numbers increased dramatically. So how did they do? Homes that sold under list, 63.43%. So you see that number is lower. Okay, homes that sold at list, 21.71, and homes that sold above list, almost 15%. And again, here's the unit numbers below. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is this is something new where I said that I've added to the program, and what I am doing each week, I'm just picking out a zip code, and then I'm going to give you the stats for that zip code, okay? And I go into it a little bit more depth than what I do in the overall stats for everything. So this particular zip code is going to be 32068, and it is in Middleburg. And these dots here just represent showing you where these are the active listings, and it shows you the area compared to where Jacksonville is and everything else, and where St. Augustine, the beach, and all that. So you see this clump here, this is the Middleburg area, the Middleburg zip code, okay, and we're going to dive into it. I'm going to show you the Excel sheets, but I first wanted to show you on a map where it is located in reference to the Jacksonville metro area. Okay, the first thing I do is I break out, I show the sheet for the sold in this, and what we look at over here, well, I'm going to explain these columns, and here is where it's what type of house it is. It's single family or condominium or townhouse or manufactured, as you can see there. The original list price, the closed price, that's the sold price, and the difference, days on the market, the type of financing for it. See, they were all in Middleburg in Clay County with the postal code 32068. Living area is your square footage, year built, bedrooms total, and then your bathrooms total. Now, I also break it down by the bathrooms that are full bathrooms and half bathrooms, and then your sold price per square foot over here, and whether it was new construction or not. Now, in the yellow down here is the median price for that. So you can see the median price in Middleburg sold was $365, and for the price per square foot was $183. And this brings you to also, and you can see here, this was a total of 13 homes that sold in this last week in that zip code. Okay, but for those of you that are looking to buy a house, well, this is what's for sale. And you can see it is a little bit different because, you know, the ones that are for sale don't have all the data as those sold, but it also, you know, breaks it down there, what type of home it is, you know, the original list price, what it is listed for now. As you can see, some of them has had price drops, and you see the days on the market, the living area, square footage, the year built, the bedrooms, bathrooms, and the price per square foot, and whether it's new construction or not. I'm going to go ahead and scroll this. And again, you can stop this as you'd like. And we'll just go down. It's quite a few. So I'll just scroll through it here. And we'll get the total here in a bit. Okay, that's 314. So that is your inventory there for Middleburg. And let me expand this out a little bit so we see those prices, because some of you may be interested in those million-plus homes. So there we go, and see what they are. Now, if you would like to see a particular zip code, just leave it in the comments section here on my channel. And now I can't do them all. Like if I got requests for half a dozen of them, I can't, but I'll pick one. But then each week I'm going to do a different zip code. Okay, the next thing I'm going to cover quickly is the condominiums. For those that are interested in the condos, there is a condo crisis looming here, and it just hasn't hit big time up here in North Florida, but in South Florida, Southwest, it has. But it's creeping up here. You're starting to see it with these assessments and HOA fees drastically increasing to pay for these repairs. Okay, so you know, kind of follows the same format here. As you can see there, we're in week 42 of these because I didn't start condos until a lot later on here, until season 3. All right, so in this column here, you can see the different statuses and the numbers for the condos. Here's how they paid for those condominiums, and again below you see the actual units, how many units sold at that. You see our total is 30. And the conventional really jumped up a lot this week. Over half are conventional mortgages. So we haven't seen that, okay? I don't know if we've ever seen it that, looking at these numbers now. But, usually it's cash is a lot higher. There's our foreclosure numbers for the condominiums. And I also do the under list, at list, and above list. And as you can see, the condominiums under list is a higher percentage than those that sold at list, a lot less. And there's the numbers below for the units sold. And when we look at the condominiums and the price categories there, we see that condos in the 200 is the big winner there. So a massive 36.67%, okay? And then the ones that sold 500 and above definitely dropped significantly from the last few weeks. Again, nothing new in the news, so we move on. Now here I look, because of the law that says 3 stories or above for the condominium, and that's the condominium complex, not the actual condominium itself, okay? But the complex is 3 stories and above, then it is going to be affected by this new law where they've got to keep these reserves for these repairs. Okay, so I just for grins was seeing, is there a trend towards people going into condominiums that are 1 and 2 stories? We haven't really seen it, but I just show it every week. So you can see that here 5 of them were 1-story complexes, 12 were in the 2-story complexes, and so on. I'll scroll down, there's one way down at the bottom here that was a large 38 stories complex, and there's our total of 30. Now because they look at the year also, like if they were built in 30 years or older, or 25 years or older on the coast, or maybe along the river, the age does matter. So here, these are the individual condos, okay? So the first one was a 2018, it was 1 story, another one was 2006 and 1 story, and so on. I'll scroll this for you also. All right, this is the counties that had the condo sales, and we say the most of them are in Duval County. St. John's came in second, and then 1 in Clay and 1 in Nassau. Now here I look at how much they sold below list price, okay? There's our original list price, the closed price, and how much below list price that these condominiums sold for. And I'll scroll this also. Hey, if you like the way I put this show together and the way I present all these numbers, I'm not talking about whether you like the numbers, just if you like the way it's presented to where it's easy to follow and on a weekly basis, then give me a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to Bubble Watch Nation here, then just hit that subscribe button. All right, this next thing I'm going to do is cover what is called MLS Advantage. And that is where I look at all 9 counties up here in this Jacksonville metro area and look at the sold numbers, because there's so many other smaller MLS boards. I'm in Northeast Florida MLS, which is the largest, but there are some others that cross-sell. So to give you the total data of the sold numbers, and I also break it down by county for you, so how many sold in Duval County, Flagler, St. John's, Clay, and so forth, then we're going to look at that also. Something else that I started a few weeks ago is that I look at the median price weekly, okay? A lot of data comes out monthly on these median prices, and I'm talking about the median sales price and the median price per square foot. I look at it weekly. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not a real good indication, but that's okay. I show it to you weekly, but then you can just look at the monthly if you want, put them together, and then take the median from my 4 weeklies if you want. But I'm going to show you the weekly median for the sale price and also the square footage sold. And let's get to that information right now. All right, when we take that number, that 650, and we break it down by counties, we see here Baker had 1, they dropped. Union had zip this week. Bradford had 2, so they dropped significantly. Clay County up a little bit, 64. Nassau stayed the same at 41. 258 for Duval County. St. John's 159. Flagler 108, and Putnam up also at 17. There's our total of 650. All right, here in the yellow columns is the median prices for this week, and then you see the previous weeks over there. So here we are, we got the single family homes. The median price this week was $400,000 and $201 a square foot. The townhomes came in at $290,000 for their median price at $202 a square foot. And the condos were $242,000 median price at $186 a square foot. And those townhomes, probably a lot of them are new. There's a lot of new townhomes selling because of the price point of the townhomes versus new homes. Okay, and now here is where I look at where I'm looking at the differences in what the original list price and what they closed for. Okay, and here we start off with below list. All right, so over here in this column over on the left, you see what it is, whether it's a single family, a condominium, or a manufactured home. And then here's the original list price, what they originally put it up for sale for, what it ended up selling for, and then the difference. So we see here, the first one sold for $110,000 below list price, the second one $105,000, and so forth. So I'm going to scroll this. And you can stop this as you like for there, or again, you could, if you downloaded this Excel sheet from my newsletter, then you could always look at it on your own. And then we're gonna drop down here to where we get to 0. And when we get to 0, that is going to be where they sold at list price. Okay, so we see there, and so you can see how, okay, original list price was $400 for this one, closed at $400, so 0. And then next we go look at how much above list price, okay? Now, as you can see, a lot of them there are below $1,000 or $1,000 and below. That's where I'm saying that's probably those, you could get these 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000 could be for concessions. Now, some of these that are 100s and 140, 500, stuff like that, those could have been multiple offer situations and people just bumped it up, okay, a little bit just to get the nudge to get the house. As we scroll down to the rest, you can see where they are with the highest ones down there, over $100,000. I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, so if you're looking to buy or sell and want to put me into the mix while you're interviewing agents, then just give me a call here at this number or text me, or you can shoot me an email at this email address here. Something else I want to tell you, all these Excel sheets that I've shown on here are available for download on my weekly newsletter, and all you got to do is send an email to this email address here and say you want to be put on the newsletter. It comes out every Tuesday, and I got more information than these Excel spreadsheets, and there's other things other than just real estate in that newsletter, and if you want to be part of it and download that information, then just sign up for the newsletter. All right, we're going to talk about that warning to buyers. All right, now I know 100% of you probably think you've got a good real estate agent or you've got a great real estate agent. The truth is that probably half or more than half really don't. There's things you got to watch out for. I see it all the time because I deal with a lot of agents all the time and what people are going through or what people call me. I have people call me even though they're using somebody else for something else. But I want to warn you about these buyer agreements. What you got to look out for is when you sign these things, it's basically telling you how much you're going to pay your agent for representing you. Now, how it generally works, okay, is that as an agent, then I will get compensated, as a concession from the seller to cover that cost. It's always been like this until that lawsuit, and then the only thing that really changed a lot, created more paperwork, and it scared a lot of buyers because you got to sign this agreement, because it is scary to look at saying, okay, I'm going to be committed to 3%, 2.5%, 2%, 1%, whatever, 4%. It's not fixed, so it can vary. But again, most of us as agents will try to get the concessions and work with you as the buyer. However, these agreements will say that you can cancel them, which is true. Okay, you can cancel that, but the wording that I need you to this is the warning. Be careful on how it's written, because even if you cancel that contract, some of them are written that if you buy a house or any house within a certain time frame or in a certain geographical area, and you use another agent because you don't like the agent you have, you still may be on the hook for paying that compensation. Now the compensation goes to the brokerage, and then the brokerage pays the agent, but you have to be careful of that. And it can happen. So when you're doing these, make sure your agent is explaining to it thorough, or if you just want to call me and talk real estate, I mean, just give me this number here. If you want to use me, that's fine. If you just want to ask me some questions, then I'm all for it. And something else too, a lot of people that have been watching me for the last couple of years already know my history of when I bought my first house and things, but I know I've got a lot of new people to this show, so I'm going to tell it again here. And what it is I always say, don't try the time to market to buy, do what's right for you. Do you know that the only time you're going to lose money is if you sell in a downturn? But if you don't, now some people have to, and then you're upside down, just like with a car. But me, I bought my house when interest rates were 18%, and everyone told me I was an idiot for doing it. Don't do it, don't do it. There was a house I wanted in a neighborhood I wanted it real bad. I looked at, could I afford the monthly payments? Yes, I could. Okay, I worked a little extra to make those payments and for a down payment to bring my monthly payment down, but I did it. Stayed in that house for like, I think 18 years. I came out all right, okay? If you're one of these people that, you know, you're looking at that forever home, you got the perfect spot and all that, you do what you can at the time. Trying the time to market doesn't always work out, okay? Now, if you're in the business of buying and selling homes, then you got to be more cautious, okay? But if you're looking for a place to live, especially if it's for your forever home and that's it, then, and you're not looking to resell it, then, but it's something you need, then that's it. Now, if that really concerns you about reselling it in like 2 years, 3 years, or even 5 years, okay, now you got to be more cautious. But if not, and also there's a lot of people that have to move. So you got to try to work out the best deal you can. I'm not sitting here telling you that go out and buy right now if you can't afford it or can't put it together or don't feel comfortable with it. I'm just saying, if you find something that you want in a neighborhood you want, and right now with more inventory and less competition, you have a better chance of getting that home than when everything's in a feeding frenzy like it was in 2021. And then I had buyers that we would put offers on like half a dozen homes and not get any of it, okay? And it was very frustrating. So just keep that in mind. You know, you got to do what's best for you and what you feel like. And like I said, if you'd like to give me a call and just talk real estate anytime, just reach out to me. Hey, you know what? This show is, right now, it's in the can. Until next show, I'm out of here.